Okay, welcome back everybody. This is my dog Egg. She's definitely going to be very interested in participating in what we're doing here today. This is sort of our working area. There's some water. Pretty exciting. Yeah, once it gets a little warmer, I'll definitely be putting some in her hair and putting some on our feet. But to start, we're just going to play with the idea that that there's a certain amount of material in there, a certain amount of water, and that kind of tells us how big of an image we can really make with it. Smaller amount of water, a smaller picture. Bigger amount of water, bigger picture. It doesn't mean you have to use everything there, but when you pour out paint, when it's paint, you know, it dries up. So it's something to think about, that the volume of that material is something that gives you options. So if we have what's nice about water is we have an abundance, but there's places in the world where there isn't an abundance of water, so we shouldn't take it for granted. We can put our brushes in it, we can put our hands in it, and that's all I'm going to start doing, is just maybe writing my name with water on the ground. So I'm dipping and applying, and you can see how it could take a while to do a full picture, and that it's a little harder trying to get to a big bucket of water. So maybe a smaller bucket of water that's closer by makes it a little easier. And what we're doing is we're just kind of putting water on the pavement, and it's making the mark. I think you can see that it's made a mark. My name is Nat, or Nathaniel, so I'm going to definitely make it easier on myself and just go with my shorter name of Nat. But you can use the water. What's nice about water or painting in general is you can use either the source of what you're pulling water from, or ink or paint, or you can use the picture you're making itself. While it's still drying, there's a puddle of paint on that surface, and sometimes instead of going back all the way to the bucket of paint or water, going to where you have a wetness in the picture and using that water as your source works just as well, and it's pretty efficient actually. It's one way to kind of keep a picture clean, so it just doesn't pool up with lots and lots of ink or water or paint. So it's sort of working out. I think I should be doing it backwards so you can see it that way. And here I ran into a seam on the pavement, so that's going to make it interesting. I can maybe do a little weeding while I'm here. Let's do a little weeding. So there we go. We got N-A-T. And backwards, that's tan. T-A-N. It's funny, I like that. But I mean, with this kind of practice, it's not very precise with your finger. It's hard to make a precise thing with your finger, but you can learn how to do things more precise. Maybe it's putting less water on your hand, so maybe letting some of it drip off. Maybe it's making dots. See how I spilled that? Now, you can make that work for you and make it into something else. We're just really playing with material and seeing how that water disappears with the sun and the heat of the day, but it's there for a minute, and once we put down a mark, we can put it down later with less drips and less things, and then we could go back to that same spot with a brush and kind of clean it up, soup it up a little bit, make it have enough material. See how it becomes more readable? Yeah. Pretty neat. So this is my brush. This is a gift from a friend. It's very neat hairs. This is made with the hair of, I think, a pig. I think it's a pig's hair. A lot of brushes, horsehair, and other materials. But what will happen, most likely, is because the ground is a porous surface, it will saturate with the ink or water, with this time with water, and it will kind of bleed out. So your image will lose its edges that you put down because it wants to, the water mass wants to spread out into some place that it's dry. It wants to dry out. So that just makes our drawings that we're making with water on pavement sort of precious at different points in time. And I want you to appreciate that something that maybe has very fine lines and is very kind of specific loses that specificity over time and loses its information and becomes something bigger. And that's kind of neat to see how things change with the advent of time. Just like our plants that we're growing, which rely on water to live. We rely on water to live, and so it's interesting to think about the water inside of us, the water that we drink in stuff, and just how important it is for us to be. But my goal is definitely with this is you can take it as far as you want. Definitely, I think at least have an experience of writing your name so that you see that you're built of water. I think that's pretty cool. But if you want to just use it as a drawing thing where you don't draw anything specifically, but you're just making marks, the waters are great for that, because it's so spready, it's so spready. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about was just scalability of something. So like these brushes, sorry for that, brushes, and if you, like I was telling you about paper towel, and then you're kind of filling it up with water, and that gives you a chance to, kind of move it around and draw with that. That's one kind of scale of mark, but then there's also scale of mark of your entire hand, and coming down, putting and making a handprint, which is one of the most primitive and most human acts, is to put your handprint onto something. And kind of just experiencing how letting it sit makes a bigger blob, but doing it quick makes just an impression. Doing it really quick makes another impression, but then you leave it alone and it does the deepening and the pressing out, and it becomes more of an image. So like the patience and the sort of perspective that you get from giving it a little bit of time instead of just filling it in with water. I'd like you to explore that. I mean, you could spend a lot of time doing this. This is a nice day out. Egg, are you into that? Yeah, you like that. She likes it when I paint. She likes when I use power tools too. She likes to visit me when I'm using saws and stuff like that. So like you can just let yourself make a big image. And what's nice is like you can really fill up a big area with lots of little drawings and stuff, and it starts to disappear and it becomes kind of something else. And in that, maybe you would look at that and go like, oh, now it looks like this to me, and maybe you would use more water and help yourself see that image that you're seeing new come to fruition. So it's painting with water. It's very non-obtrusive. But again, it's not about making a big mess, because look at that. There's an image right there. 10 minutes and we made an image. It's very fast, but it disappears. But that's good too sometimes. That's like a good memory. Okay, I hope you had a wonderful time with this, and I hope you explore, and I hope you take pictures and send them in so that we can see what how you're exploring with paint or water on the ground. And we'll keep building up on stuff with further projects that explore other issues and with other mediums, and I hope you have a good time. Fun first, okay? Be well.